So I've been working all morning on proofreading my manuscript, and this is the final push right before my book gets sent off to printing and production. And it is quite bittersweet having seen this entire process. I have not read my book in a few months already. I submitted my final manuscript like sometime mid 2023, and it's been a few months since I've last touched it, read any of it, just done anything with it. And it's honestly bringing up some very deep emotions. My book is about healing and healing generational trauma. It's a very interactive book, but it does bring up some very deep and emotional topics. And reading it months later, it's doing something to me emotionally, but in a good way. Like, it's nice to see how far I've come, not just in writing this book, but also in my own journey as someone who has struggled with mental health and healing intergenerational trauma and reclaiming my roots. And there's just been so much to it, and it's very nice to see the process along the way. I started writing this book way over a year ago, and the way that it has transformed in itself, like the book has gone through so many changes, but also the way that it has transformed me has been beyond anything that I ever expected. I feel like me writing this book was such a necessary part of my writing journey, but also as a person and as a creative. This book has allowed me to see past many things that I've struggled with and how I have overcame those things, and has really put into perspective life in general for me and the person that I want to be and how I want to show up in life in the world. It has really allowed me to become more and more of myself. The person that you see, especially in the most recent videos, is like a huge thanks to this writing journey, this book. It has allowed me to be that person, and it's been such a wonderful journey. It's just really nice. It's really nice reading this book after months of being away from it and being able to re-encounter all those emotions and just getting reacquainted with everything that I wrote. It's been a very bittersweet journey now that I am like proofreading, and this is like the last push before it gets sent off to the printer. And also, this is my first time seeing my book sort of put together, like how they laid it out and all the beautiful layouts that they did. It is actually very nice how my editor and my publisher put everything together, and it just makes me so excited for the publication of my first book. Sometimes I still cannot believe that I wrote a whole book, and I oftentimes forget to celebrate myself for this very big milestone. Needless to say, I am having a great time proofreading, and it's beautiful to see everything put together, to reminisce on the journey, and it's wonderful. So my book comes out on May 21st. So I figured, since I am doing some proofreading, that I would actually, since I have to read the entire book, I thought that it would be a good idea, now that I'm proofreading, to sort of gather some quotes that I really love that stand out in my book and make a separate sheet for them. And those are the quotes that I'm going to be referencing back to for marketing purposes. I'm thinking of making posts and some cool little graphics in order for me to be able to promote across all my social media channels. So I am gathering a whole bunch of quotes. I'm going through each chapter while I'm proofreading, and I am noting what chapter it's on and what page it's on. That way I can reference whoever wants to look those up in their own book. They can reference to that page. So that's what I'm doing right now. I figured that I might as well just do that. I have been thinking of wanting to do that anyways. It is a nice and very windy and stormy day. We are just getting a little bit of sun right now, but the entire morning it has been raining with some very harsh winds. It is a nice cozy day. It is a perfect day to proofread, and I have to get this submitted by tomorrow, but I am confident I can get it done. And then also, my husband said if I want to take a little trip to Barnes & Noble's a little bit later on. I don't know, something about rain and visiting a bookstore, it's just the best vibe. So I might just do that also a little bit later on. I just finished editing, I think, chapter 1. I think I have a total of 8 chapters on here, but each chapter is split into 2 parts. So I just got done with all of chapter 1 and I'm moving on to chapter 2. So far, there hasn't been that many changes that I've been requesting for them to make. It's just been a whole bunch of like little things. But so far, everything is looking amazing. I'm loving the layout. It just looks so magical. It looks like everything that I wanted and how I envisioned for this to look. So it makes me so excited. So let's get back to editing. Okay, I'm back again. I know I just talked to you guys, but I came across this little paragraph that I wrote and it just got me thinking. The beautiful things about all of our cultures is how we have just little distinguishable things that we pick up from our family members and our ancestors that we continue to do unintentionally sometimes. So I'm just curious to know if you guys also have those things. So let me just read to you guys the paragraph that I wrote on here. And I quote, "I can recite every clink and clank of the pot symphony in Ama's kitchen," Ama being my mother. "I know them by heart and soul. I know that she stores the pots in her dishwasher because who actually uses their dishwasher? At least not in this Mexican household. And if the pots are not in the dishwasher, then, you guessed it, they are in the oven. I know Ama is the ultimate recycler because she keeps every empty butter bin and empty sauce jar for storing seasonings and leftovers. I would nag at her to get rid of them, but she would always say, Nosotros no somos desperdiciados. We are not wasteful. I love this about Ama, how she refuses to get rid of anything simply because the use for which it was intended has been completed. She always finds new ways to bring purpose to things that would have otherwise been discarded. Ama sees the value in everything and chooses to love it all. Being in Ama's kitchen showed me how love lives in every ingredient, every container, every hum, and every story. I talk a lot in my book about mother-daughter relationships because that's just like a big theme in my book. But it just got me thinking as I'm like proofreading this, like those little things that we pick up from our families and our grandparents or whoever it is that we grow up with. And it seems like they're just like these little beautiful repeated cycles. Like I know we carry sometimes a lot of intergenerational trauma, and trauma is passed down from generation to generation, but we also do carry those little things, those certain processes or how we do things, or in my case, things that we store and recycle, because I also do that. And of course, I picked that up from my mother, and of course, my mother picked that up from her mother, and so forth. And I just find that this is just such a beautiful repetitive cycle of traditions and little rituals that we tend to stick through. And sometimes we don't think about those things like, why do I do this thing? Where did this come from? Where did I pick this up from? And oftentimes it's because we've seen whoever it is that we grew up with doing that, and they did that because whoever they grew up with did that as well. So I just find that beautiful, that as much as we do carry sometimes grief from our past loved ones and pain, I find it also beautiful to focus and give more love and attention as well to those beautiful things that we did pick up from our loved ones that we do today, and hold on to those dearly, because I just find that those are just so special and beautiful, and we just need to give more love. and attention to them. I feel like one of the ways to quiet down sometimes the pain and the hurt that we might be going through from just generational trauma is to focus on the good aspects of things that we did pick up, of things that we did inherit that are beautiful and are peaceful and that just make us feel good. And for me, even though this is something as simply as just storing pots and pans in an oven or a dishwasher, I just find that so funny and a whole lesson in itself of things that we pick up from our loved ones that for some reason makes me feel very giddy and good. Like when I find myself putting a pot or a pan in an oven or in a dishwasher, I'm like, why am I doing this? And I take a second to think, where did I learn this from? And it just makes me feel just grateful and happy about where this thing that my brain just developed on its, not on its own, because obviously I learned it from somewhere, in this case my mom, but just how we just unintentionally pick up on these things. And it's just beautiful to acknowledge those as well. But I just wanted to bring that up and share that little paragraph that I wrote because it makes me feel so good. I would like to know, however, so if you do have some sort of cultural thing of this sort or something that you've just picked up from like your mom or your grandparents or the guardian who you grew up with, I would love to know, do you have something like this that you find yourself just giggling to because you've also picked up on it? Let me know down in the comments below. I think this would be fun and interesting to just reminisce on. Hi friends! So it's actually been a few days later after I was working on proofreading my manuscript. I was able to meet my deadline and I submitted it and everything went well. I got word back from my publisher and they said that everything looked good. They approved the little changes that I requested to be made. And it was quite nice having had that little separation where I just hadn't read my manuscript in quite a few months. When I was writing it, I had to meet severe deadlines and I was super exhausted and I just needed that space to just sort of get away from that story. And reading it really it felt really great. I was able to see the impact, or at least I feel like the impact that I am hoping that this has on readers. Because as a writer, when you're reading it, you're kind of like in the moment and you don't really feel that impact because you have to feel whatever it is that you want to portray or whatever it is or whatever emotions it is that you want for the storyline to hold. So now as a reader and not a writer, I was able to really feel that impact and it was quite nice having felt that. My book comes out in March and it's all very exciting stuff. I am a little bit nervous. It's always nervous, I feel like, whenever you put anything out into the world because folks can be so critical sometimes. And because this book is a little bit more personal for me, like it holds a lot of like personal stories of my own life. And I feel like with this book, I was able to really be very vulnerable. It feels a little scary, but I am still very much excited. I have to start planning how the launch week is going to look like, how the month when it comes out is going to look like. I am working on some marketing tools. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I'm excited and I'm just ready for this book to be out into the world. I feel like it's been a project that I've worked on for so long and I am just ready for this to be out there. So that got done. I do have a lot more writing projects planned out. There's a couple of writing projects that I'm working on. There's like so many stories I want to tell and it's all very exciting, but I need to organize my brain and really make a writing plan as far as like what bookish stuff I want to work on next, because going forward I do want to invest more of my time and energy as a writer and as an illustrator to create more books. Me and my sister are working on some writing stuff together. We're working on a novel together and we are also working on a collection of poetry. And then I am working on a graphic novel on my own. And I had a big surge of energy last night about what I wanted this graphic novel to really entail and to really be about. And I'm just so excited to share more about it with you guys. So I am planning on some cozy writing vlogs here on my YouTube. So look forward to those pretty soon. I have been reading The Anatomy of Story, 22 Steps to Becoming a Master Storyteller by John Trudy. And I actually got this book recommended by Lindsay Puckett here on YouTube, who does very cozy writing vlogs. I love all of her videos and I've learned so much through all her videos about storytelling and about drafting a storyline. She is a middle grade author and I love her videos. So I got this book recommended through one of her videos and I started reading it already and I've already highlighted some stuff. So I'm excited to get more into this and really learn more about storytelling and how to compose stories. This is what I've been reading and I'm excited to continue studying it. I also want to show you the book that I just bought when I went to Barnes & Noble's in this vlog. And I am just so excited for this book. This is An Education in Malice by S.T. Gibson. This is from the same author that wrote A Dowry of Blood, which is a pretty popular book, but it's a book that I have not read and I am so mad at myself for that. But I did pick this up because the premise of this, you guys, sounds so good. So one of my favorite books out there that has to do with vampires is Carmilla. And Carmilla is, I actually have it somewhere. Let me see. Let me go grab it. Okay, this is one of my favorite books out there. This is Carmilla by Sheridan LaFamme, and this is said to have been the first vampire book out there that actually inspired the story of Dracula. So before there was Dracula, there was actually Carmilla, and Carmilla was a woman. So with that being said, An Education in Malice is sort of like a retelling of Carmilla. So this is a sapphic fantasy dark romance and it takes place in an educational institute or something like that. It takes place in Massachusetts at St. Perpetua's Women's College, and sure enough it follows sort of like the storyline of Carmilla about two women who fall in love, and one of them is Carmilla, who is a vampire. So some of the themes that I read that this book has is it has a dual POV, it's an academic rivals to lovers, it's a gothic dark academia, it has a student and teacher relationship. It has blood, gore, murder, and mystery. It has obsessive and possessive love interest. And then it has a love for poetry. So I have not entered my dark romance era, but I feel like this might just be a gateway into that, so we'll see. But I am very excited because I really loved Carmela and the storyline or the premise of Carmela, so I'm excited to see a retelling of that. So with that being said, friends, let me know down in the comments below if you enjoy these cozy writing videos. If you do, I will make it more of a priority to do more of these. I personally love videos like this. I love to see writers working on their projects, and it's just so beautiful to see that author in that moment of creation, and then when that initial project, book, or whatever it may be comes out, it's just beautiful to say that I was watching all along this thing being created or birthed. But that's just me. So if you like videos like this, let me know down in the comments below so I can prioritize more writing videos. I feel like that would be fun. Take you all along in little just cozy writing days. And maybe if you're an aspiring author, then maybe we can just, I don't know, maybe you could serve as an inspiration or just a cozy little writing day together. Who knows? So friends, thank you again for being here. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. Please remember to like and subscribe. I would really much appreciate it. It really helps out my channel. Also, I just relaunched my Patreon. I have a cozy little Patreon that I named Spellbound Manor. And at Spellbound Manor, we also have a cozy little book club. We are the Storykeeper Society book club over at Spellbound Manor via Patreon. So if you're interested in joining a little cozy community where I share more cozy videos, I have a whole bunch of downloadables on there, and we talk about books and we just share about our love for books, then maybe check out my Patreon. It'll be linked down below. So that being said, friends, I will leave you with our quote of the year, and that is to remember that you can create the life that you want because you so deserve it, friend. I will see you in a video very soon. Take care and bye for now.